Alright lads, welcome back to another video. We're obviously going to be talking about editing. You've seen from the thumbnail and the title that we're going to be talking about, how to improve this edit speed. You can see in the background right now I'm not editing fast, but if you're very smart you would have copped on and noticed that my arm is moving super far. I'm playing on a lower sense I believe, or at least a lower EDPI than Mongrel right now. And my whole goal is to be as precise as I can be. While still being able to edit fast. Unfortunately that means I might have to dislocate a shoulder or two in the process, but I'm going to give you all the tips I've came across so far from playing on this sensitivity and just in general to help you get better at editing, and things that I've been doing the last few days that have really helped me. This video, it's going to have a few tips that you've heard before, but I've got ones in tune for you that I've taken out of my book, things that I've learned that other people I haven't really heard talk about. They're going to be more towards the end, just to reward anybody who does stick around longer. Because I don't like giving off the information to somebody who's just going to take it and go. You got to show some love, man. I'm going out of my way to make this video possible. And like that, I'm just going to get started, okay? We're going to start off and I'm going to talk about my low sensitivity and about why I'm slow at editing right now. I'm on 400 DPI with, I believe, like an 8 sensitivity. It's like super low. I'm not sure if that's lower than Mongrel, but it feels it. I remember trying Mongrel sensitivity before, but right now this feels slower. I'm still able to edit pretty fast, but I mess up a lot. And there's basically, in a nutshell, there's two ways of improving at editing. One is like you practice by being slow and precise, and the other one is by being sloppy but super fast and being able to snap onto different pieces super fast, but you might be messing up your click timing and stuff like that. And honestly, there's no one way better at practicing than the other. The best way to practice is actually combine both. Now, this is going to be just like, I'm going to try and explain how I usually practice. And when I come on, I will slow practice. Or practice as slow and as possible, trying to make as little movement between the tiles as possible. You know what I mean? You've heard other people talk about it before, just moving the mouse as slowly as possible instead of using big distances between each tile on the building object that you're editing. Is just trying to go small distances. That is very good, and doing that for a long time really does help your muscle memory. Especially do that with the crosshair on. You see I don't have a crosshair on right now, and that's because I was experimenting with this technique, which I have used before, but I just wanted to feel it, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. That's one of the later tips I have. But what I'm talking about is just, be precise and slow when you come on, because that will just tune your mindset with what you should be doing. It will like subconsciously affect you, trust me on that one. But then when I go off, what I will do is like wrist breaking edits, and I do this for one reason. I will if it takes a half an hour for my wrist to be in pain from editing, I will do it. And my wrist does get cramped up a lot because of, I'm on such a low sensitivity and I have to move a lot. But what I've noticed is, when you go to the gym, this is how I'm going to have to compare it. You go to the gym, you lift a bit, okay? When you reach the point of like failure when you're lifting, that's when like you actually wake up the next day in pain and you have gained muscle, because it takes a process called a muscle protein synthesis, which is like where your muscles degrade so much to the point that it needs to start rebuilding, and that only happens when you reach failure and when you reach a pain, okay, and a cramp. Now I'm not saying, my dog's barking, I'm not saying go out of your way like to injure yourself. If you know it's bone pain and not muscular pain, obviously don't do it. But I'm trying to be as in-depth as possible here. You really want to aim for that pain and that cramp from editing hours, okay? That's going to really help your muscle memory solidify and stay strong. Trust me on that. Like everything that's good comes after a bit of pain. You can't even lie. That's a saying, okay? And the tips I'm going to give you right now that will help you with speed, and especially with those wrist breaking edits, is to edit with no crosshair. And that's more for the slow, prestigious, like edit with no crosshair, but edit slow. And then if you want to, a little tip for editing with the fast edits and trying to get faster, more like over precision, you use just to build your muscle memory, your eye to hand movement connection, your eye coordination. And to do that, don't use a crosshair, just try and build it so your wrist kind of knows where it's supposed to be. So for the precision kind of tips, I would say, no crosshair. But then for the speed tips, do it at 125% speed. So it's the one after normal on those like little speed things. Or just eat a few chili peppers, Editing like that will really increase your speed. It will make it feel almost like awkward, to the point that it's actually hard to do. But that's a good thing. If you're messing up half your edits, it's okay, because then when you come off that super fast speed, you're gonna feel like everything is way slower and you can edit super faster. It's like hiring your standards. So when you hire your standards, the standards you once thought were high end up being low. So it's a good thing to do that. Then basically, in my opinion, the best way to actually improve edits is in box fights, because it forces you to play with a bit of pressure on you. Everything else is in a non-stress environment, which is good for trying new things and, you know, practicing at a calm pace. But then you gotta actually put that to the test and see if you are improving. And if you're not, you know, you gotta improve somewhere. You gotta see what's going on. So you need to be able to track that, and you can definitely feel it in box fights, because you'll start doing the real tight, crunchy edits, you know, where you might need to edit through 3 walls and maybe edit a window and wall, shoot them, reset a ramp. You know, you never know what you got to be doing. It's pretty random, okay? So you got to train yourself for that, and definitely box fights helps. And don't just play box fights. Like the public matchmaking creative box fights, they're fun and all, and they're good. But if you do have the opportunity, play like, not wagers, but, you know, like, get people from Discords and stuff and play like that, because, and play alongside people that are better than you as well. Make sure you're the worst on the team in a weird way. Because, you know, like, if you hang around smart people, more than likely your IQ is going to go up a bit. That's always a saying. If you hang around people that sell drugs, you're more than likely going to sell drugs. It's 2 and 2 makes 1. So, you know, hang around people that are better than you and try and learn from them. Or just being around them, you'll naturally learn. You'll hear the way they talk, the way they play. So I'm not trying to treat you like a noob or anything like that. I'm just trying to help as much as I can. I know people probably are hating me treating them like noobs like right now, but you never know who's watching, you know. People might just be looking for genuine tips that they've never heard before. I know most of them you've probably heard, because the game's been out like 4 years and it's impossible to not have heard at least one of the tips I've given out. But yeah, like, you can see me right now, I'm editing actually pretty fast. Like, in terms of my screen, you know, I still mess up a bit on those wall edits because I have to move my wrist so much. And I've been looking through, I've actually taken a few recordings trying to get this video. And to be honest, I just kind of settled with this one, because it's like, it's not the best one, but it's the most honest one. Like, I'm editing fast at points, and then sometimes I'm struggling. I don't like, you know, giving you guys videos of me playing my absolute best. As much as it is entertaining, it's not really helpful, because, you know, if I'm playing at my absolute best, you're looking at me and you're like, man, he is just insane. But that's just not the case. Every player plays terrible, edits terrible, practices terrible, has good days, has bad days. But I don't know, just YouTube and a lot of streamers try and hide that as much as they can. Well, not really streamers, they don't have the choice, but YouTubers do have the option to hide them playing bad because they just don't hit the upload button. So, I don't know, I just feel as if this honest gameplay of, honestly, my progress right now is pretty good. Like, to me, I feel like I've came a long way. I'm only back playing the game. I went on to Warzone after like a 2-month break. Probably longer, but, well, it's definitely longer, but I'll just say 2 months. And I figured out a lot of YouTube shit over on Warzone and stuff, and I just want to come back and try it out here, try and grow on Fortnite and stick around with Fortnite, because that was originally my goal, but it just seemed so out of reach at the time. But now we're almost 200 subs strong, and it feels hella doable to actually get to 100. We're on 174 after making this, as I'm making this, sorry. So, you know, if you want to hit that sub button, man, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry for ranting on at the end. Probably should have said a minute ago that that's all the tips I have. I guess I'm just squeezing you for that watch time. Not really. I'll give you another tip right now if you let me think. Because I have all these other tips I just wrote down, but the rest of the tips are kind of, I was debating saying, but then I didn't want to in case I talk too long. But I don't know, I'd say one of the best tips I have is just, you know, at the end of the day, man, you gotta have a bit of fun. If you just, like, I've been down the road of playing and editing alone in a creative for about 4 hours a day, and it's not healthy. Have fun, man. Have fun at the end of the day, and you will get so much better off having fun and smiling when you're editing and stuff. Enjoy what you're doing. Don't force yourself to get better, because that will not work. And I've done it before. You gotta enjoy it to get better at it, and that's just a fact of life. Don't do anything unless you're not enjoying it, because if not, you'll never improve at it. You can see me there pausing, just about to give up on that editing. I'm out of here. Gonna play the outro. Have a good one.